these are my classmates Sharon and Artie.
Hi.
Hey guys.
We would like to thank you for taking the time to speak with us. Our goal as students are to learn from you as much as we can from your real life experiences about the positive role of business in building a better world like your business does. The interview is for Aim to Flourish, which is a student-led UN Global Compact supported learning initiative to discover and then celebrate untold stories about business innovations for good. Aim to Flourish uses the 17 UN Global Sustainable Development Goals as a lens, and as business students, we are mainly interested in hearing about good for the world innovations that are also good for business using these goals. After we ask you a few questions, we'll be writing a story and submitting it to aimtoflourish.com. We view this interview as more of a mentoring opportunity than anything else, and in this spirit have come up with several main questions. So the first question we would like to ask is, how did you get started and what drew you to developing your business of Main Street Farms?
All right. So the short answer is a business partner who started the farm, and right after he bought the first farm, he asked me to come join him to help. So that's how I got involved as an owner of the farm. The long answer, my business partner I actually met in college. He was my college roommate. We kind of both went off on our separate directions for a while, but we both became educators. He was a high school social studies teacher. I was an outdoor environmental educator. And we kind of started to see firsthand the connection of food and how it was affecting, the kids we taught and learning, and, just seeing some of their eating habits and just kind of like really wanting to get more involved with growing food and where it came from. And then, he did a bunch of research and started the farm. And when he started, he just called me up and said, hey, I need someone that can help me, do this stuff, growing plants, building stuff, and experience working with kids, doing education. And so I didn't have any money, but I worked for free for 2 years and earned some sweat equity, and I'm a co-owner in the farm. And we're in our 6th or 7th year now, depending on who you ask, and things are going well.
Perfect. So the next question is, what does the work you do at Main Street Farms entail, and what do you value most about it? And what sustains your dedication and passion towards your business?
All right, so my job is farm manager. So the kind of breakdown is, so my business partner does a lot of the business end of things, payroll, a lot of the planning, a lot of the office work. We work together doing a bunch of planning in the winter for the season, and then once the spring hits and our crew goes from, we probably keep 2 people on in the winter, probably like 4 people in the spring, and by the summer into the fall, like right now we have about 16 different employees. So my job is to kind of manage the crew and keep on top of the day-to-day operations. So I mean, as a farmer, it varies so much. It could be anything from starting the plants, working the greenhouses, transplanting, and harvesting, washing, going to farmers markets, going to the CSA. I kind of manage all of that, and my business partner and I both were very involved with the customer interactions, the face-to-face, like direct sales at the farmers market. We go almost every Saturday to the farmers market in Syracuse, and we try to do our CSA pickup together. So we really try to be involved, but also with our customers, our CSA members. We consider them members. Some of them have been with us for years and years and years now. Well, 5 years to use it for our CSA. Do you guys know what a CSA is? Should I go into that?
Yeah, you can go into that.
Community supported agriculture. People buy a share in the farm up front, and then every week for the whole season they get a box full of veggies.
Oh, okay.
So those people really we developed relationships with them. They've done it for a couple of years now, and so I was leading into the second part of the question, like what sustains you. It's like seeing the look on those people's faces each week when they come to pick up their veggies, and just like getting to know them as people and them getting to know you. And like, some people get really like fanatical about it. It's like, yeah, Bobcat and Allen, those guys, those are my farmers, they're my farmers. Like, and that's just an amazing feeling, people, there's lots of businesses out there that people get excited about, but the fact that these are people in our communities that we see each and every week. I feel like that's really what it's all about to us. So that's what keeps us going. And yeah, I think does that answer
Yes,
most of that
of course.
question?
Okay. So our next question is, can you describe to us your business innovation that allows you to grow fresh and sustainable food locally and all year round in upstate New York? How did the innovation emerge, and what was the impact of the innovation on the business, society, and the environment?
Okay, so we've been on a long journey as a farm. Every year has been completely different than the previous year. We're constantly reinvesting in the business. We're constantly trying to scale up and make as many improvements as we can to our equipment, our infrastructure, just focusing on efficiencies. But when we first started, we were really small, really tiny. We had a 1 acre property, and we started doing something called aquaponics, which a lot of people still know us for. If you don't know what aquaponics is, we raise fish in tanks, and the wastewater gets pumped up to hydroponic grow beds where it fertilizes the plants, and the water trickles down, and the plants act as a natural fish filter to clean the water for the fish. So it's a pretty cool way of growing food. It does allow we operate that all 12 months out of the year, so that allows us. That was kind of the cornerstone of our business, where it allowed us to have products all 12 months out of the year, and that's really important. When a lot of other farmers this time of year are kind of like taking a break, we're kind of just hitting our stride and trying to ramp up our winter production each year. So we decided not to scale up the aquaponics for a lot of reasons that it's just too much to get into right now. But we decided instead of having to have this huge capital investment to get more aquaponics greenhouses and all this stuff, like for a little bit of money to get more land, that we rent a lot of our land, we can grow a lot more food for people in our community than focusing on this really small scale innovation. Aquaponics does have a lot of benefits, and that's why we started with it, but ultimately we felt like we can make more of an impact growing more food in soil. So for example, this year alone we put away about 80,000 pounds of carrots just in the last 2 months that store all winter long. So instead of trying to grow the fresh greens, we got 80,000 pounds of carrots. And then the other thing we have been doing is building passive solar greenhouses, so it doesn't require any heat or anything like the aquaponics greenhouse might. And so for less inputs and resources, we can still grow spinach, lettuce in the soil without the aquaponic system. And it turns out to be more profitable to kind of let go of our ideals a little bit, where initially we started out, we're like, aquaponics is so cool, it can save the world. But aquaponics is great on a small scale, but we just decided that wasn't the direction we wanted to go. If you can't keep the lights on, there's no saving the world, because if you can't pay your bills. So that's a very real business lesson right there for you guys. Obviously I know this is all about the UN stuff, but as much as we are into doing all this sustainability stuff and improving our community, number one is paying the bills. If you can't stay in business, then you can't do anything, right? So
yeah,
it's a double-edged sword.
So yeah, like we mentioned before, this interview is based on the UN Sustainable Development Goals that are currently transforming our world. So one of these goals is making cities and communities sustainable. So how are you able to achieve this in your business for the communities around your farm, and why did you choose to start your business in these communities?
Okay, yeah. So, kind of piggybacking off that last one, we just decided to focus our energy on getting bigger and just being able to feed more people. So we started in a small little city, college town in Cortland is where the farm is located. And then after a couple of years, we decided to go up to Syracuse, which is it's a decent sized city. And then now we go to Binghamton as well. So we're in an area in upstate New York where we kind of can hit a couple of different communities, and it's not that far of a drive to send those veggies around. So I think we've just been really trying to improve these communities by promoting local food, getting veggies into people's hands and bellies all 12 months out of the year, and just really kind of we really are just really trying to be interactive with people, educating them as well as not just growing food for them. And I feel like that really kind of pays off when people get to kind of know who you are. They're more likely to, people don't just buy products for the things that they are. They also buy from people or from companies or from brands, right? So in a sense, we're our own brand. And we just, we try to just give back to our community as much as we can, donating veggies when we can, donating our time, doing education. I can go on and on about communities, but what was the second part of the question? Why we chose to do it here?
Yeah.
Okay. Part of it was my business partner, who I mentioned. He was a high school social studies teacher in the city of Cortland. So that's where he got his first teaching job. He did it for a few years, and then he quit to pursue farming. So Cortland was just kind of where he was. But just about 25 miles away from us is Ithaca, New York, which is kind of like a organic farming mecca. I mean, acres and acres of corn that they grow for cows, and people think of farms and they see that. And so we're really trying to, also just educate people that, it's like farms aren't just about cows and milk, So it was a challenge at first, but now people are really coming around, and people are like, I want some organic veggies because, it's hot right now. People just want what's popular. So it kind of, the tides are turning, and we're in the right place at the right time.
All right, Rob, so we have just a few more questions for you. So the next one coming up is, another one of the UN Sustainable Development Goals is ensuring sustainable consumption and production, along with ensuring healthy lives and well-being for all ages. I'm aware that Main Street Farms offers educational classes and other wellness initiatives that allow you to achieve this goal in your business. And I was wondering if you could elaborate a little bit more about how you implement that and the effect it has on the community.
Yeah, definitely. So both my partner and I, coming from education backgrounds, has really helped us kind of with that. And I think very early on, he obviously had the contacts of being a local teacher. So he already had a lot of connections where people would bring their kids to our farm basically for some service learning. It's like we'd give them a tour, we'd talk about, food a little bit, and then we'd be like, all right, now we're going to weed this, or we're going to, do that, or we're going to build this. And they were really into it, and we had a lot of schools that kind of caught wind of that, and they just wanted to, they just loved getting out of the classroom and doing something, getting their hands dirty. So we quickly developed a reputation as being these educators of all ages. Like I was really good with the elementary school, middle school kids. My partner would do a lot of the high school and college kids. And we just didn't have a lot of money in the beginning for advertising, so we also kind of used this opportunity as a marketing plan. So there was a joke for a while that we never said no to anything, right? If people asked us to come to an event, if they wanted to do a tour, if they wanted us to come speak at their classroom, at their college class, at their community group, we did so many things where we just, people just started asking us, and we'd never say no, and we just kind of developed that reputation as kind of local food ambassadors. We really kind of we still do it as much as possible. Now we're kind of scaling back a little bit because, our time is more valuable managing our crew and running the farm. But, we still do tours. My partner still does consulting on aquaponics. And now sometimes we just work on a sliding scale where, money to pay, then now they got to pay us for our time. But if they're a school group and they don't have the money, then we do it for free. So it's kind of changed a little bit. We've thought about having a nonprofit that just does education. So I don't know, it hasn't been really something that we decided to keep putting too much energy into.
All right, that's great. I actually really like how you say that you're ambassadors for local food. I think that's really good. So is there anything else in the works at Main Street Farms for furthering the Sustainable Development Goals? Are there any other initiatives or ideas that are you most excited about implementing or expanding within your business or community?
Yeah, we do have something going on for next year. Again, each year has been completely different. We're constantly innovating in different ways. We actually just got a permit to grow hemp, which is starting to become more popular in New York State. The governor's really behind it. And so we'll be growing hemp for medicine, for CBD oil, and for, possibly for fiber. And, it's a untapped market, and so we don't really know what to expect or where it's going to, we're going to give it a try. So that should be interesting.
All right, great. So our last question was, what do you see for your company going forward, and what are some of the most promising areas of your business? And I think you kind of just touched on that right now, but is there anything else that you'd like to mention?
Yeah, I think just in general, I mean, the future is exciting because everybody's never going to go out of style. And we're just constantly getting the local food movement snowballing. We're getting more and more people on board that are kind of starting to get it and starting to want to know where their food comes from. So I think we have a lot of potential, and we're excited now that we're just, building a team of good people that are going to be with us for a long time and just trying to keep growing as much food as we can. And I feel like the sky is the limit for us. So, things are going well, and we're excited we're in a business where we can really feel good about what we do at the end of the day, where we are making a difference in people's lives, making our community more healthy, putting money into the local economy by creating jobs and farming organically, which, is obviously more sustainable and better for the environment.
All right.
Yeah.
Awesome. I think we're coming up towards the end of our interview here. Do you guys have anything else to say?
No, nothing else.
So I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with us today, Rob. It's great meeting you. I think
No problem.
I think we all
Sorry,
really appreciate
I'm a little long-winded at times. If there's anything I missed, feel free to send me an email or something if you guys want me to clarify anything. Because I know I ramble on sometimes, but yeah, a project that you guys are doing. So
Awesome.
congrats.
Thank you
and,
so much
keep up the good work.
for taking your time. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Good luck with everything.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
You
Take
too.
it easy.
Bye. I'll